Okay, it's 10:04. Let's go ahead and get started. All right. Hey, everyone. Um, Thank you for coming. My name is Jeffrey Gillen. I'm a research data scientist and educator here at the University of Arizona. So I'm coming to you live from the Science and Engineering Library on the campus of U of A here in Tucson. And you found yourself at the second session of the Geospatial AI workshop here at U of A. So last week, I gave you kind of a broad overview of the landscape of Geo AI, how artificial intelligence and in the form of large language models, multimodal models, chatbots, and machine learning is really kind of enhancing what we've been doing with geospatial, remote sensing, and GIS. And so today we're going to turn towards the more technical, and we're going to do a specific session on coding agents. So what that means is that we have a chat bot, in this case, Claude, and Claude is going to be directly controlling and taking action and executing commands in QGIS. All right, so that is the first part of today's session. And then the second part is we're going to be using a coding agent in Google Earth Engine. And that one is using Gemini, obviously, because it's all Google stuff. So I think this session will be interesting. It is going to be a lot less structured, more free flowing, more kind of hacking it and seeing what happens. Um, I'm curious, how many people were able to actually get some of the setup done? So can I get a hand or some kind of verbal, response? Were you able to get the QGIS Claude setup completed? It's not a big deal if you hadn't, but has anyone been able to do the QGIS Claude setup? Yeah, there's a lot. Trying but encountered errors. Yeah, yep, there is turns out it was an arduous one. I did it months ago. So if you're asking me really specific questions about how to do it, I'm not sure I could answer you right now because I haven't looked at it in a couple of months to be honest. What I do know is I just followed the instructions. Um, and I think it took me maybe a couple hours or something like that to figure out the QGIS one. The Earth Engine one was also kind of challenging. Um, let's we can talk about Earth Engine later on. So let's just focus on QGIS. All right, so even if you weren't able to do the setup, no big deal. You can just observe what I'm doing. You're going to get the same idea of what coding agents are currently doing. But it could be more fun if you're, clicking away or typing away on your own machine. You could kind of see what it's doing. Feel free to contact me after the session if you want to see if you can get it set up on your own machine, and then we could kind of work through it together. Yeah, so I'd like to help people do it. Just can't really spend any time during the actual recorded session working on it because that would be a time sink. So um, let's talk about our topic. I might get my screen going again. All right, so we go through all this stuff. AI writing code, that's right. Okay, so we are at AI agents, right? What is an AI agent? It's a reasoning large language model or multimodal model that has access to a variety of tools and can execute commands autonomously or semi-autonomously. And so I put this at autonomy level medium. That's what I'm calling it. And what could those tools be? So it is becoming clear that we're going to plug pretty much any software imaginable into a chat bot and be able to control it directly with English prompts. So this could be your own operating system of your local machine. It could be any kind of software app on your local machine or on the internet, on the web. You could be doing it to interact with and query databases, use it to get data in and out of data storage. I've seen examples of a lot of these things already. So We can plug software directly into a chatbot like ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, and then be able to control and execute commands directly in an English-based interface. Is this a good thing? Maybe, maybe not. That's what we're kind of in the middle of trying to figure out. What makes agents very unique is that you can give them a list of tasks and they can just execute them kind of autonomously. They often ask you permission before they do things, but they're not just regurgitating information that then you can use. They are actually regurgitating information and then can actually execute on it to do commands directly on your behalf. So it's very exciting, yet a bit scary. Yeah, and so I have my little GIF here of the start of Westworld TV show on HBO. The piano, you're playing the piano, and then suddenly the piano is playing itself, and that's kind of what this feels like when you start using these AI agents. You give it a task, and it just kind of goes ahead and starts doing it. And where will that lead us? Not sure. We'll just go right by that. And today we're going to be talking about the Model Context Protocol, or the MCP. This is a standardized communication framework that allows LLMs to talk directly with software tools. This MCP was created by Anthropic, and they're the company that has built the chatbot Claude. But they've made this thing open, so it's becoming kind of a standard. Even if you're not using Claude, this MCP has become kind of a standard way to bridge the communication between an LLM and a software tool. So here's my graphic trying to kind of explain what it is. So we have our LLM here, which I'm calling the computer, and then we have our tools, let's say QGIS, and we can plug it in just like a USB stick. So that's kind of the concept. Besides QGIS, which we're going to demo here in a little bit, they are MCPs, or yeah, MCP, I guess I misspelled MPC here. Sorry for the typo. MCP, Model Context Protocol, there's existing ones to talk directly to Postgres databases, PostGIS, Geo servers, Label Studio, if you're doing machine learning, and also Jupyter Notebooks. And that's just kind of scratching the surface. Those are just kind of the geospatial software apps that I saw. You're gonna be able to use MCP for lots and lots of software, not just geospatial. Okay, Claude plus GIS, QGIS. Oh, I need to sign in to Google, it looks like. Okay, you guys can still see my screen, right? All right. So now we're going to do a little demo. So this is the QGIS plus Claude portion. And so keep in mind that this is totally live, and I don't necessarily know what's going to happen. My hope is that it all works. So let's get set up. If anyone out there has this setup done, then please kind of follow along. All right, so let's launch our apps to do this. So first thing we need, and Carlos, can you kind of man the chat? There's anything that I need to know in the chat because I'm not really able to figure it out. Let's see. Avril was asking about personal. Yeah, if you're doing Earth Engine, you can't use a U of A account. All right, so to make this work, we need Claude Desktop. So Claude has a few different versions, right? Claude is just like ChatGPT or something, very similar. Usually most people interact with it through their web browser, right? You put in questions, you get answers, you have a conversation with Claude. There's also a desktop version. And so that's what we have here. It's basically the same thing. Only it's just like it kind of lives here on my machine. Don't be confused that like I'm not actually hosting the chat bot on my machine. I'm still reaching out to the internet to the Claude API to actually get the responses. So this LLM is not running locally, if you're asking that. It's just the interface is a desktop app. Okay, so I've got my Claude up here. And let's get QGIS. Where you at, Q? There we go. Okay, for those who have never used QGIS, it's quite similar to ArcGIS Pro, or it's just a different type of GIS. It's an open source version, so you can use it free of use. It has an open license. It can pretty much do most of the same things that ArcGIS can. It's just a little different interface, a little different feel, but think of it as just a GIS, right? So yeah, again, I'm not going to go over how exactly the setup went, but one part of the setup is you are actually making or installing a QGIS plugin called Claude QGIS MCP. Let's start that server. Okay, so in theory, I've connected Claude to QGIS. All right, QGIS on the right, Claude on the left. Um, let's just see if it works. Ping QGIS. Okay, great. The QGIS server is responding successfully. The connection is working properly and ready for use. So that is really good news for the live demo. All right, so what should we do, right? What kind of GIS stuff should we ask Claude to do? I have some pre-baked stuff that we're gonna do first. And let me find it. Yep, so on the course website, I've got data. If anyone is doing this or wants to do it tomorrow or the next day, I've got data that I'm going to use directly today. Because I'm mostly a drone guy, I've got some drone imagery. I got a digital surface model for that I created from a drone. They are kind of big. Sorry. I tend to work with big image products. So I have digital surface model you can download directly. I have an orthomosaic you can download directly. And I also have a little tiny polygon file that is much less. Like I don't know how big it is, but probably in like the kilobyte range, really small. And so those could just be, data to play with if you're just doing kind of a demo stuff. Okay, so I also have prompts for QGIS in Claude. So the first one was ping QGIS, and that looks like that was successful. And then let's do this one. So we need to tell Claude where our working directory is. And so I just have a folder on my, in my documents, directory of my computer, and I'm saying, hey, that's the working directory. Okay, so it looks like that's affirmative. They found the working directory and they're like, what should we do? Alrighty. Okay, so now this one is kind of important. Okay, so this is kind of a long, what I call a system prompt. Has anyone heard that term, a system prompt, before? Anybody? Anybody? Okay, so yes. All right, Avril. So a system prompt is kind of the big picture overarching instructions I am giving to Claude. These aren't specific, QGIS instructions. They're just they are the behavior I would like Claude to be. Like I would like him to do this. I would like it to do this going forward. It's putting sideboards on what it does and what it doesn't do. And so I have learned that if you don't give it some system prompts or kind of, overarching instructions, it will just kind of go overboard and do a lot more than you ask it to do. So my system prompt consists of this. So I'm saying, as we proceed, please follow my instructions precisely and do not execute any code and analysis without my express permission. I'm going to explain the task I want completed, and you will not launch into code execution until you have reasoned through the steps required to complete the task and summarize them for me. Additionally, it's important to understand before doing and keeping me in the loop before any action. When I give you permission to proceed with the code generation and execution, you will write a summary report for me that includes the final successful code. I want to keep that code for future use, so please write out any successful code to Python files within the working directory. All right, so I'm saying don't just launch off and do things until you have like formulated a plan. It makes sense. I have looked at your plan. I agree, and I say proceed. And then the other part is after you've written successful code, put them in Python files in my working directory that we can reference later. So this is my system prompt. I don't know if this is the best way to go about this. Is just kind of something I've figured out through experimentation. All right, so he's repeating back to me. No code execution without your express permission. Yep, keep me informed throughout the process. After you've written successful code, put them in Python files in my working directory. Okay, great, Claude. It seems like Claude understands what we're doing. And so like let's do some actual QGIS operations. So we're going to just add a file, a digital surface model from my working directory into the map. Okay, so for simple things, this seems a little overboard. He's like formulating a plan of how he's going to add data to the map and um, right. Questions before proceeding. What's he saying? Is the file located or a subdirectory? Should I create a new project first or are we working with the existing one? Okay. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Let's say proceed. Okay, let's say the data is in the root working directory. Proceed. All right, so once he has a task and he's about to do it, he's gonna oftentimes ask you permission. Can I do this task on your behalf? And I usually say allow once. Um, yep, okay. So this might happen a couple times. In the background, Claude is gonna be running all Python. So at every time he does something, he's gonna ask permission. I'm just like, allow, okay, cool. So we added the raster layer, this digital surface model to QGIS. Excellent. And he's telling me something about it. Okay. So it's a big file, 13,000 by 15,000 pixels. So it's kind of big. Yeah, that's what happens when I make drone imagery products. And then he created a little Python file. Let's see what it looks like. So this is the Python code it wrote to bring the data into QGIS, I guess. Interesting. And did it go to my working directory? Documents. Let's go with list. No, I don't think he didn't write the Python file to my working directory, but he did output it here. Okay, that's not bad. What would you like to do next with the DSM data? Let's see, what do we want to do? Let's create a hillshade of the digital surface model. So we're already at 10:24. I'm not really sure how long this will go. It kind of depends on how many people want to stick around, but I can, all told today, it could be an hour and a half. It's really up to you guys. We could keep rolling with it, or maybe the next demo will fail. I'm not sure. So stay as long as you would like. I'll be here for probably 2 hours. It is being recorded. Okay, so I said create a hill shade of the DSM layer, and I'm just getting like nothing happening here. Not really sure what that's about. And you'll find with these chatbots is it's not deterministic. You can ask the same question multiple times, and you might get a different answer every time. And that's the a challenge for sure, is how do we make what it's doing more reproducible so we can just do it over and over and over. So yeah, what's up with Claude? I'm not really sure. Let's just wait another couple moments. Maybe he's just, oh, okay. Okay, I understand that you want to create a hillshade layer from the DSM raster. Great. Now he's got formulated a plan here. Here are the required steps. Okay, he's going to look at the how to do the hillshade and form with the azimuth and the altitude. Okay, great. Should I name the output file? Yes, that sounds good. Yes, proceed with your naming suggestion. Yeah, again, he's going to ask me permission to do things. He is writing everything in Python. Claude is pretty good at writing Python. Yeah, so for these simple things like add a layer, make a hillshade, to me, it's kind of overkill to use a chatbot for it. It seems like I could just go click, click, and it's done myself, right? Yeah. I think where it's going to be more valuable is when you're doing like a more complex workflow and you've got 20 steps, and maybe those 20 steps you're not really sure how to do. So I imagine that is really where the chatbots can be valuable. But this is just kind of just a demo, just to demonstrate what it can do. Okay, let's look at our map. Oh, hey, it made a hillshade. Okay, and it output the Python code. So here is the Python code. Well, it's still writing it. So that Python code is what did the hillshade. So I've got my hillshade here. That's pretty cool. Okay, the hillshade file has been saved to working directory and the Python code has been preserved for future use. What does that mean? Preserve for future use. So yep, there's my hillshade that it created. It's now in my working directory. And so I guess preserve for future use means it made this file here and you can copy or whatnot, the Python. Let me direct him a little bit. Make sure to output the Python files directly to my working directory. Yeah, you often have to like kind of re-instruct them sometimes if they're not doing it exactly right. Okay, add raster layer. Great, created a Python script. Okay, what are you doing now? Oh, okay. So it made Python files for both the things it's done, including making the hillshade and then adding the raster. So we now have two Python scripts. Okay, let me try something I've never tried before. Now, create another hillshade of the DSM, but use the existing Python code in the working directory. Do not generate new code. To distinguish from the first hillshade, make the color blue. All right, so I'm trying to get towards the reproducibility of what these things generate. Can it just grab a Python script that's already existing and run it? Okay, I understand you want me to create another hillshade using the existing Python code in the working directory. Make this one blue, distinguish from the first hillshade. Question, should I modify the output file to avoid overwriting the first hillshade? Do you want me to execute existing Python file directly or run the hillshade algorithm again with the same parameters? I don't know. Ah, okay. Okay, do not write over the previous file. Use the exact Python code or hillshade that you used previously. Apply a change in color after the fact in the map interface. This is all experimental. I have absolutely no idea what it's going to do. Okay. While it's doing it, I can look up some questions here. Okay, does Claude Desktop app use an Anthropic subscription account, or can it use an Anthropic API token? Avril, I'm not sure on that. I have an Anthropic subscription, but you can also just use the free version. You can use Claude Desktop without ever paying Anthropic, but of course you're limited on how many, conversations, things you can have. Avril, you're also asking about best practices for system prompts in Markdown. Could be. I don't know the best practices, Like I said, these are just things I've kind of figured out and talked to other people, and yeah, I'm not very advanced in this. I'm just making it up as I go. Okay, what have we accomplished here? So it made a new hillshade. It's blue. That's good news. And did it actually write a new one? Yep. Wow. Demo going good so far. It did work. Okay, should we up the level of difficulty? All right, so for this one, I want to make a presentation quality map that displays the DSM on top of the hillshade. I want to make the DSM layer have a rainbow color ramp, also make the DSM transparent enough to be able to see the hillshade layer underneath. For context, I said this map is for an important presentation in front of a bunch of cartographers. Make sure it has a good north arrow and scale bar. Put a legend showing the elevation of the DSM. All right. So now I wanted to actually like output a map as a PNG image file. So this is going towards can it win Iron Cartographer at AGIC? I don't think it can yet. Okay, what questions it has? Should I use the original grayscale hillshade or the blue one? Okay, good question. What transparency level? Okay, any preference for the rainbow color ramp? Should I zoom to the full extent of the data for the map? Okay. Okay, so let's write those. Okay, so number one, or I want the original hillshade gray. Two, what transparency level? Pick a level. Three, any preference? Your preference. Uh, yes, zoom to full extent of the data for the map. All right. Those are good questions, Claude. Let's watch here. Oh, he's creating the presentation quality map with cartographic elements. And so, by the way, I do have a Claude subscription. So if you're using the free version, you run out of like prompts pretty quick. You're like, and you've reached your limit for the day. And so I've actually switched all my chat botting. I did use ChatGPT for a long time, and I've switched everything to Claude because I wanted to do this QGIS stuff, and I also like Claude Code. Claude Code is the agent that will live in your terminal of your machine, which has been proven to be pretty powerful. So yeah, I am now a Claude user. But who knows? Maybe in a couple months I'll switch to something else. That's kind of the beauty of these subscriptions. Pay $20 and you can do it for a month and be like, nah, let's try something else. Let me fix the export code. Yeah, so a lot of times they make mistakes. Whoa. It crashed QGIS. Okay, okay. Alrighty then. Well, we got pretty good with the demo. Okay, since that happened, I suppose we could maybe shift gears, or should I give it another shot? So yeah, it's gonna die here, so I'll just stop Claude. Let's turn the server back on. This happened to me before. I have no idea what is leading to it crashing. I don't know. Ping QGIS. Okay, we're gonna have to decline. Yep, yeah. Let's just stop, decline. We're gonna have to restart that. Okay, we're gonna have to augment this a little bit. Okay, new task. You are going to add to the map a raster DSM layer. What is that DSM layer called? Okay, yeah, hillshade. Okay. All right, let's try again. Please start fresh. Yes, both files are in the working directory. And I'll just give you the working directory in case you forgot it. Okay, we'll see what happens. So it crashes again, then yeah, we can move on to different topic. Seems the Hillshade file does not exist. Okay, maybe I misnamed it. Okay, it found the Hillshade, even though I might have named it incorrectly. Great, now we have both layers. Let me apply the rainbow color ramp, the DSM. Okay, I will create the presentation quality map layout. Okay, getting close, don't crash. I imagine this is pretty computationally heavy. When you start using an agent, it often will do things, write code, and then make a mistake and then try to fix itself. So it is, yeah, a lot of computation. It died again. Yeah, okay. Well, interesting. That teaches me something. Um, yeah, interesting. Did it actually get it out? What is that? Hillshade presentation, QGS. I don't even know what kind of file that is. Derek, you ever seen a QGS file? What is that?
I I have, but I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
All right. Well, let's see what happens if I just like, can I open it? What is it
Maybe
doing?
it is a project. Yeah, I
Decent
guess
Hillshade. I don't know what it
I've
is.
worked with QGZ. Maybe it's one is just a zipped version and of this, which
Yeah,
was just the project file, maybe.
it might just be the project file. Okay. What do we have here? Oh, interest. Okay, yeah, so it was interrupted in the middle. Um, okay, well, we can kind of stop that demo for now. I hope people got the point that this is all very interesting, that we can control software via chatbot, but clearly, it's not ready for prime time. It's not perfect. It makes lots of mistakes. It feels clunky, and you're just like, I could just click a button instead of having the chatbot do it. So yeah, I feel like we're at a moment where the world needs to figure out what the chatbot is really for and how can it be integrated with our current computing systems. Right now, we're just in a very experimental, let's just try chatbot. And there are actually whole GIS systems that are kind of built around a chatbot. I mentioned them last week. I can mention them again. How do I share? Okay, yeah, so there's some AI native GISs that look kind of experimental. You can find them on the web. There's one called Mundi, which I played with. You can check it out at this address here. There's also Monarca, and I've not demoed this one, but so these are online GISs that are chatbot first. And so they're starting with the chatbot. And can you make a GIS system from the chatbot up? And I haven't seen a great demonstration of them yet. But again, it's still like it's a spark. It's an interesting idea, but that's not really been executed very well yet. So that's kind of the theme of most of these coding agents in for geospatial is that there's little tidbits of magic, but we're not really sure how to make that magic really productive for us. Let's see, there's another GIS called this Clarity, which is kind of an interesting one. I think you can do a demo of that one. So check that one out. Okay, so let's take a 5 minute break. So it's 10:46. Let's take a little break here, and then we will come back with how to do agents in Google Earth Engine. Yeah, so let's just take a couple minutes and not look at our computer. And I'll be back with you in about 5 minutes. Okay, everyone. It's been about 5 minutes. Hopefully, you could use the bathroom or get a coffee or something. Yeah, let's do our second demo, which is an AI agent within Google Earth Engine. Um, I assume a lot of you perhaps have tried or used Earth Engine before. If not, give a quick little description. Earth Engine is Google's cloud computing, I guess you call it GIS, sort of, or more specifically, it is really about mostly analyzing large raster data sets. And so you were doing it all on Google Cloud. It's a way to do things, on larger computation, bigger computer, and you're doing it in the cloud, so you're not really doing anything locally. Earth Engine has a really large data catalog. So they've got, all the satellite imagery, things you can think of. Um, and then they also have a user catalog. And so my colleague Sam Priya Roy developed something called the Awesome Earth Engine User Catalog. And so like it's petabytes basically of data. So Earth Engine is a one of one, totally unique cloud platform for doing geospatial analysis. A lot of that is raster analysis, satellite imagery. Think of it that way. And it is free for a lot of people to use on a small scale. If you're a commercial company, yes, you will have to pay for use. But if you're like a student or faculty or something like that, oftentimes you can use it for free. So it is a fantastic resource. And yeah, we're going to show you how to do the agent aspect of Earth Engine. And so a few months ago, I met one like the data manager of Earth Engine. His name is Simon Ilushenko. I met him in Utah, and he had just come up with this demo for an agent in Earth Engine, and he shared it with me. So that's what I'm going to share with you guys today. So let's just go ahead and do it. Let's get out of there. All right, go to my Earth Engine setup here. And the setup for this was also not that easy. So um, I apologize. I gave you guys quite the level of difficulty when it came to setup. Um, so if you weren't able to do it by today's session, no big deal. You can just kind of observe, and then maybe you can try it later on when you have more time. So the setup is a little challenging. First, you cannot use your university email. If you try to use U of A, Arizona.edu email, it's not going to work. Um, the system administrators at U of A have blocked a student's ability or a faculty's ability to make a Google Cloud project, I believe is the issue. And so you have to have a Google Cloud project to be able to use Earth Engine nowadays. And so if you use your own personal Gmail, that is the way to go. Um, what else? The other part is the Google Gemini API. And so that can be kind of a hassle as well. But yeah, hopefully these links here can take you through the setup. And yeah, it does take a little bit of time. But once you get through it and you get it going and start playing with it, again, it's kind of fun. So let's see if we can do it. Oops, I'm in the wrong login account. Okay, so I copy this address. I need to go into my personal Google account. Okay, so what have I just gone into? So this is Google Colab. Google Colab is basically it's a Google hosted Jupyter notebook. Jupyter Notebook is an environment to interactively write and run Python code. It's a fantastic way to step yourself through Python code. And so Colab is just we're doing Python, or yeah, we're doing Python and Jupyter Notebook, but we're doing it on a Google computer, and that is called Google Colab. if you are yeah, we'll talk about that later. So let's connect first. If you've never really used Colab, I know probably not going to recognize interface. Just bear with me. I'm going to have to kind of do a bit of a setup to get to the actual chat bot in here. So I'm just going to connect to Google resources. Okay, so I just have the standard account for my personal account here. Here's my RAM, not that much. I do have 100 gigabytes of disk for storage. Um, Carlo, yeah, keep admitting people if they come in. Um, so yeah, so I've got myself a little virtual machine, and we're going to do some Python coding. And another setup that is very important is having your Google Cloud project ID here. I've got it masked so people can't steal it. So I'm not going to push that button so you can see my numbers. And then you also need the Google's Gemini API key. So you need those two things so we can actually talk to the chatbot and actually run code in Earth Engine. Okay, I'm just basically have to click a whole bunch of cells to get it going. Let's not worry about what these code snippets are doing. We're simply going to install some software, run some basic stuff to get it going, and then we'll get to the actual chatbot part. So bear with me a minute. Okay. What we're doing here, we're just importing Python libraries into our computing environment. Okay, so it wants access to my Google account, and I will allow it. Okay, we just have some functions. Don't worry about what they are. So we're at the system prompt, and this is kind of like what I did with QGIS. This is like an overall arching kind of instruction we're giving to the chatbot, in this case, Gemini, of how to behave. And so it is saying you are an AI assistant designed to solve geospatial problems using Google Earth Engine and Python. Okay. On your own time, you can kind of read through all this stuff, but it's basically, yeah, giving them like the roadmap of what to do, what not to do. I'll just go ahead and run the cell. Okay, task. These are the things. These are like the canned questions that we might ask Gemini. Carlos, can you? Maybe it doesn't matter in Zoom land. The computer restarts. Computer restarted. Maybe it doesn't matter. We just won't have it on the screen here. Okay, so the tasks are the canned kind of pre-baked questions that we would have for Gemini. I'll just go ahead and run them. Doesn't matter what they are at the moment. We'll get down to it. Yes, lots of. Okay, we're finally to the start. Starting the agent. Okay, so this is an important part. This is where you actually choose which Gemini version we want to actually use when we do our API calls to it. I'm not going to use 2.5 Pro. I don't know if I have access to that or if that costs money. I'm not sure. I do know I can use Gemini 2.0 Flash Thinking. So I've used that before in this demo. So let's try that API. And it's going to use my Google API key that I specifically have. Okay, let's get it going, and then we can start chatbotting. All right, hopefully we're set up. What questions should we ask Gemini to do? And so we have access to all the data within Earth Engine, and presumably we can do anything that is written as possible in Earth Engine. Uh, if you guys have used Earth Engine in the web GUI, that's using JavaScript. You can also use Python to interact with and do things in Earth Engine. So that's what we're doing today. This is all going to be writing Python. Let's start with something like find a recent Landsat scene of Tucson, Arizona. Compute the NDVI and display both layers in the map. Okay, so this is this kind of internal monologue that's going on here. Yeah, a lot of times I don't really know what it's doing. Um, it is outputting a lot of things that it says it's doing, but it's going so fast it's hard to kind of keep up. Okay. Oh, it's done. Okay. So yeah, so displayed as true color Landsat scene and in DVI for Tucson, Arizona. Let's check that. So yeah, so here's the true color Landsat. And what year is this? I don't know. And then here's the NDVI it created. Great. Okay, so it looks like it did the task successfully for the most part. Pretty much did what I asked it to do. Thank you, Carlos. Let's try something like please clip out the NDVI around the boundaries of the city of Tucson. I have no idea what that's going to do. Yeah, does it have an ability to know where the city of Tucson is? Well, clearly it knows where it is, but does it know the boundaries of the city? I don't know. Okay, it found Pima County. What did it do? Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. So here's our Landsat scene, right? This big tilted rectangle, and then it clipped out NDVI for the polygon of Pima County. So that's not exactly what I asked it to do, but I mean, that's not bad. Kind of, kind of interesting. Okay. Um, let's see. Let's get something specific. There is some other canned prompts up here that I will take. Show me something interesting, unexpected, and uplifting. Explain why you chose what you chose. We'll try that one. And I have no idea what this is going to do. Okay, it said it displayed before and after true color Landsat scenes of the North Aral Sea, showing its recovery. This is an uplifting example of environmental restoration. Okay. Really? I'm not really seeing that. Oh, there's something over here. Okay. All right. Is that the Aral Sea, North Aral Sea? I don't even know where that sea is. Okay, well, it did something. I didn't give anything specific, so I guess I have to live with what it gave me. Um, Let me do another canned one, and then I'll ask for a something from the audience. Okay, for the next task, we're going to compute the area of Belgium by querying the WM. Okay, this is a data set. We're going to query that data set in Earth Engine, show the boundaries on Google Earth Engine map, and zoom in on them. All right. So we're trying to figure out the area of Belgium using a specific data set. All right. Looks like at least we've zoomed into Belgium. All right. Okay. They computed the area of Belgium to be 30,544 square kilometers. Anyone verify that to be right? Okay, so let's take one from the audience. Someone out there in Zoom land or here. Okay, here we go. Moritz Steiner. I'm located in Alaska. Could you ask the chatbot to compute and visualize the decline of the Ruth Glacier in Alaska between 1990 and 2020? Oh, that's awesome. Okay, yeah. Okay. Compute and visualize the decline of the Ruth Glacier in Alaska between 1990 and 2020. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Let's see what it decides to do. Again, specificity is usually pretty useful with these chatbots. If you really want, like, I want to use Landsat data for this or that. But it's also interesting just to see if you kind of give it a vague task, what it ends up doing. Can we create a map in Earth Engine and export it? Hmm. Okay. No idea. Could try that. Huh? As an image? Yeah. Yeah, we could try that next. All right, it's still thinking. While we do that, I want to let's see. So this is the Earth Engine catalog of data. Just kind of see if there's something interested in here we can talk about. Annual crop inventory. Hmm. Okay, it's still working on Ruth Glacier. It's displaying false color Landsat scenes of Ruth Glacier 1990 and 2020. It's still thinking. Is that the Ruth Glacier, Moritz? Are we in the right place? Yes. Okay, so right outside of Anchorage. Excellent. Okay, it finished. So it said, computed and visualized the decline of Ruth Glacier. Snow ice area in 1990 was 884 square kilometers. In 2020, it was 245 square kilometers, showing a decline of 638 square kilometers. Task done. Okay. And then the data that we have here looks like we have a Landsat scene from 1990. I don't know what that is. Those are two scenes that are not on top of each other, so that's kind of strange. Yeah. So yeah, again, you can see the sparks of brilliance here, the sparks of magic, but it's not executed very well a lot of times, and it's like, what is this layer? Ruth Glacier loss. Okay. I don't even know what that is that it created. I don't know. I don't know if that's supposed to be an imagery product or not sure. Okay, let's try another one from the audience. Can you ask it to export the code it is carrying out a task as JavaScript so you could paste into an Earth Engine code window that I think would be helpful since most people use the JavaScript. Yep, okay. Okay, let's try that, Nate. Let's go back to the original task I did, which was um, find a recent land sat scene of Tucson, Arizona, and calculate the NDVI of it. Export the code as JavaScript. um, so I can use it later. Yeah, I can just use it later. I don't know what that means. Like, yeah, can you get things in and out of this is a good question. Export the code so I can use it later. Please make it downloadable. Yeah, I've never tried to do this. I've just tried to do some basic satellite stuff, but um, this could be interesting. Can it output code? And can you get that code out actually? I don't know. Let's see. Can we also know what method is used to those for those calculations? Right, yeah. Good question. Yeah, no idea what's going to come out of this. Still thinking. Um, yeah, and after this, we could probably about call it a day. I think you guys have the idea that this is super experimental. I don't really know the best way, the best methods, or the best practices to use this at all. I'm just typing in things and seeing what happens. Um, Next week, next Thursday, I'm going to do a whole end-to-end workshop on deep learning for aerial imagery. So I'm going to be using, yeah, it'll be some drone imagery, I believe. because that's kind of what I do. Uh, in the setup instructions, I did say that we're going to use a cloud computer called Jetstream 2. I've decided to not do that. That's actually going to be quite hard for several people. So I'm actually going to do it all on Google Colab. So we'll be using the same interface. I'm going to have a pre-written notebook with all the Python already written, all the data. And so there isn't a lot of setup for you guys to do. You can kind of join and click through the Python and it will run and we'll go through the entire workflow of how to do machine learning on aerial imagery. One thing you could do though is if you're a student or a staff or faculty at any university, I think you can get a Google Colab Pro account. And that is very useful. And so there's actually a little button here, upgrade to Colab Pro. So if you are associated with the university, you can get a Colab Pro account for free, which will give you much more system RAM. It'll go from like 12.7 up to 50 gigabytes of RAM. It'll also give you access to better GPUs. And so when I discovered that the other day, and I was like, hey, fantastic. I'm associated with the university. So I have a Google Pro or Google Colab Pro account as of a few days ago, and it's been fantastic. So if you guys are interested, it's free to do. I think you have to prove that you are associated with the university in some way. Um, and then yeah, I'll see you next Thursday. Um, but yeah, this thing is still running. So yeah, when it's running though, does anyone have any other questions or comments? You can do it in the chat, or you can just unmute and speak. Any Curtis, will I be sharing the video? Yes, of course. I will. I'm recording all these sessions, and I'm making them available on the course website, the workshop website. Um, yeah, this has been a fun demo. Hey, Nate, go ahead.
Hey Jeff, thanks for the demo. This has been really interesting. Um, I just had a question about like some of the security with like these collab notebooks, just because I've never used them before, and it's cool if you don't know the answer to. But it when I went to like give it permission for my Google account to like link the collab workbook to my Google account, it asked for like read, write, delete access for my like entire Google Drive. And I
Hmm.
just wanted to check like is the notebook that I'm using like like sort of local version of it to my Google account, as in like um just when I'm like weighing the cost benefit of like allowing a note like a third party notebook to like have complete access to my like Google Drive was like a little bit sketchy to me. So I
I
just kind
know
of
it is. Yeah, the security aspect seems sketchy. Short answer is I don't really know. When I did the same thing, I sat there for a minute going, "What do you mean access?"
yeah.
So I don't really understand. I'm not quite sure why it needs access to my Google Drive account or what it's doing in that regard. I mean, I don't think it's writing anything. Carlos, do you have a thought on that?
Yes, actually, just giving permission to write on your Google Drive. It's making a local copy.
Okay,
Okay,
Carlos was
cool.
saying that it's making a local copy on your Google Drive. Is that what it's doing? Okay. Okay,
And that's
interesting.
specific to the session that I'm like operating on. It's not like if the owner of the third party notebook or anything like that now has access to it because I've given it permission. It's just like this specific instance that I've opened up.
It's
I,
just a
I
file. It's just a file. You're saving it to a local file, your file.
The
Like,
notebook.
yeah,
yeah,
now you own the notebook.
Okay, sweet. Perfect. Thank you. I appreciate it. That
yeah, the
makes me
notebook
feel a
is
lot better.
IPYNB file.
Right, right. The Jupyter notebook. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thanks, y'all.
Okay, so looks like my task in Earth Engine did complete. What did it do? Unexpected response. I'm not sure it worked. I don't know. We were trying to output the code as JavaScript, and it looked like we got some 503 problem. I don't know. I'm not sure what it did at all. Let's see. Yeah, anyone else have any questions or comments? All right, see if there's another example we can do here. Okay, so I wanted to look at a specific data set. So I wanted to do, okay, using this data set on crops, can you I don't know, summarize crop type in Arizona? Oh, it's Canada. Crap. That's not gonna work. You're welcome, Gerardo. Thanks for tuning in. Yep, to summarize crops in Arizona, you need a different data layer. Yeah, okay. Okay. So let's do summarize crop types in Alberta using this data layer. All right, I'll see if this task finishes and then we will call it a day. So thank you very much everyone for attending. And what do we got here? Oh, we have a printout of looks like all the different class types. Okay. So I asked it to summarize crops in Alberta, Canada. I don't even really know what the data layer is or what it's going to do. Yeah, so thanks for attending. You're more welcome to sign off now. I was just going to let this play out and probably then close it down. Thanks, guys, and hopefully I see you next Thursday at the end-to-end machine learning workflow session. We'll be using Google Colab.
Ask a quick question
Yes, sir.
about the die on energy. But once I hit start server, I go to Claude and say ping QGIS.
Mhm. It's alive and well. Cool.
Okay. Doesn't it show up on the left,
No,
or doesn't it? No.
nope. You've got QGIS and you've got Claude in two different application windows.
Okay.
First thing is like
Then-
do something, add data or something.
Is that prompt that you had, like the system prompt on, do you have that?
Yeah, it's on it is on my course, like the workshop.
It's on the
front
workshop
page.
list.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in there.
All right, cool.
Okay, so what did my crop summary for Alberta do? Okay, it said it summarized crop types in Alberta for 2022. Great. How did you do that? Did it create any data layers? What'd you do? Huh. Okay, well, here we go. Oh, wow. Okay, so it printed out all the different types of, looks like probably classes, and then gives me the total square kilometers of each class. Okay, I mean, that's kind of what I asked it to do. Yeah, interesting. Okay, let's display the on the map. All right, I want it to display that crop raster layer onto the map. Yeah, does it very nicely. Okay, so please reach out to me if you want to need help with any of the setup for either of these demos. And thanks for attending. Hopefully, we can see you next Thursday as well. Thanks, everyone. I'll go ahead and sign off.
Yeah, I've seen it. Internet, all this stuff is fun.